send it to you as a link on YouTube so only you can see it. So okay, we have a 3-point move, but because we've only just violated structure here, this is either a violation or an initial structure high. What happens then is that we see a pullback, okay, and this now becomes a potential outside return. And then when we make a new high above this level, we now have a 3-point move, confirmed trend. Okay, so what we're then looking for is we're going to highlight. We now know that this is the this is now the high, and this is now the outside return. So anywhere in this zone at all, we're looking for buying opportunities. And what we do from there then is we need to narrow down where we can look for those buying opportunities, and we want to look inside this area for structure levels. We want decent structure levels. So I can see right here, there's a decent structure level. We have a minor level here, and what I would recommend is draw all over your charts to do this, and you can see there. It's an internal level of structure. And what I also want to do is also you want to look right for any even handled numbers. Here we have a psychological number, and what we know about psychological numbers is they act like structure. So just like major structure, we will be attracted to it and we will bounce off it. And so these are really key areas. And one other thing we need to do is obviously we need a good risk to reward there, usually a 1-to-1 or more if preferable. And so if we're looking at a 1-to-1 risk to reward, then if we're risking this much, then we know that our reward is at least that much. We know we've got a 1-to-1. Okay, I'm sure that's basic stuff that you're already aware. So learning to identify trend is going to be absolutely key. Let's look at this situation now. So we've identified here that we're in trend. We made a new structure high, an outside return. This is also, what is it now, Cody? Exactly, this is a new structure high. So we're going to again highlight our outside return, and as long as we don't breach this level, we know that we're still looking for buying opportunities. So the market rallies down, and what do you notice about this particular setup? Let me zoom in for you. What's just happened here? It stalled, exactly. The first thing I notice is we have momentum. See this? This is a big bearish candle. Momentum for me plays such a big part in trading, and when you're looking at candlestick formations and you're looking at flag patterns, these are going to be absolutely crucial to look at. So this is a momentum move, and before you even look at buying this up, we need to wait for price to stall and give us an entry reason. Now in this outside return here, we again want to look for some kind of internal structure, and you can see that we have a nice level right here, don't we? A good place to look at buying. Now as we watch price progress, the first thing I see here is that we put in a flag pattern. Exactly. So whenever I see high momentum moves like this, I'm not really interested in buying the market just because we're in trend. I'm thinking, hang on a minute, whenever we see momentum moves in the market, I'm looking for the market to stall and maybe carry that momentum on. Now, do you know much about momentum? When I say momentum, I'm talking about big moves in the market. Do you know what? Okay, all right. Tell me about it. What do you know about it? Okay. Yep, so in this instance you would say that there's an awful lot of orders that have come into the market and the market has dropped off as a result of it. So that says to me that this structure level here may not hold because we are seeing a big momentum move away from it. So even though we're in trend, we just need to keep an open mind that when we see certain candlestick formations like this momentum move, we might just want to say, well, hang on a minute, before I'm aggressive here and buy, because look at what we've got. We do have a buying opportunity. We've got a 3-bar reversal here. Yep, you're thinking, oh, look at that 3-bar reversal, we've gone oversold here. My RSI is 80-20, so this is probably about 17. 3-bar reversal coming into the structure level, close to the 131 flat, but we didn't test it. Some people may think, oh, fantastic, let's buy and let's play for a retest of the highs. And it's really important that we just keep an open mind and that we really need more confirmation than that. Now, would you have bought this situation looking at it saying it's a 3-bar reversal at the structure level with the RSI? Is that a signal that you may have considered? Okay, all right. I'll tell you why I wouldn't. And I've already mentioned the momentum. These momentum candles, what tends to happen is once you see momentum, you see then relief before we see the momentum carry on. And all it is what you said before, it's just a brief pause in the market before we see that momentum carry on. On top of that, there's another reason. Okay, if we'd come down to this level and we were going to hold, it's very, and not blow through, it's very likely we would have tested the 131 flat. Yeah, if price was going to hold and there was loads of buyers right down here, they will be waiting with buy orders at 131 flat. And since we never got there, that's a signal to say, you know, we never got there, we're probably just going to coil before we break through that level. And the third thing is that this is only an internal piece of structure. Okay, so we would have needed something good, more than just a 3-bar reversal to get involved. And so I would have waited for a 2-touch flag here. We actually touched a few more times, but up here would have been my entry. I'll run into the specifics of my entries another time. And then I would have played for a retest of the lows, which were down here, and I would have also brought fibs on to see where that 127 fib comes in. And what I can see, it's there. I can see it's actually above this structure level, so I would have played for past the 127. So that's how I would have handled that trade. Now tell me what happened once we broke this level of structure here. What then happened? Okay, when do we have a violation or an initial structure low? Okay, the initial outside return, don't forget, is this, yeah? So it's from the swing high to the swing low. This is just an internal piece of structure here. So until we break this level, we're still in trend. And so what we did, we broke it. So then we have either a violation or a initial structure low. They both mean the same thing. And so straight away, we're no longer looking for buying opportunities. In fact, I'm really only looking at selling opportunities, because when we broke this flag pattern here, what did the candlesticks do? Exactly, and look at the momentum. Those candles are just going straight down. You know, there's no stalling. They're big. The momentum, we've just violated structure. If anything, I'm going to want to hop on this momentum that's in the market and carry on with the trend. But at some point, all momentum runs out. And what happens when it runs out? We tend to see the market consolidate before we see another momentum move. And right here is the momentum down. Here we have, this wasn't valid for me, but this would have been a high and tight flag if we'd actually come up and tested here, and we'd actually come down. Oh, my mouse is on the way out, Cody. I actually have a special ergonomic mouse that I ordered from America because I've got, I don't know if you know, I've got problems with my hands. Do you remember for my accountability? And the clicker on the mouse is going, and it's like a joystick, you know, out of a fighter plane, so that I don't have to constantly move my fingers and click. And I can only get them from America, and I've got to wait 2 weeks. Yeah, so we didn't actually come down and test here, and we didn't quite go up to there, but you can clearly see that this is sideways movement, and straight after it we once again broke to the downside, continuing that momentum. Okay, so do you know the names of these two flags? Not a falling flag. You can just call that one a flag, to be honest with you. You're thinking of a falling channel, I think. Okay, that is the same as this flag, except you would notice that price would be coming down like this, and we work it two different ways. Okay, and again, when we come across those situations, we'll talk about it. This one, do you know what this one is called? Nope, don't. Don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. Low and tight flag. Again, this one isn't valid because we actually needed it to test 2 times either side of the trend line. We didn't quite get it, but nevertheless, you can see that the pattern actually played out really nice, and I would have got my entry here because I will be looking for this high and tight flag here. So we can learn quite a bit between these two patterns because they both tell a different story. What this tells, first of all, is that what price did is we saw a momentum move lower, and we actually then consolidated, but we actually retraced a little bit. Now the angle of the retracement that we see actually tells us a lot about the story. And you know, Akil loves to talk about what price does and make a story up about what the candlesticks are doing. Now the candlesticks here are telling me that we pushed as low as we could to this point, and then we started to retrace backwards, not by a lot. Okay, and what this says to me is that because we retraced but only a small amount, there was still a lot of selling pressure. So Cody, the bears pushed right down, and then they retraced, but the bulls could only push up ever so slightly. Yeah, now if this flag was more like this, what kind of story do you think it would be telling? Exactly, and there is more of a fight going on. That means that whenever you see flag patterns like this, they are going to be have a lower win rate compared to flags that have a less of a steeper angle. So what that means is when we see a low and tight flag, and this is going to be your most profitable pattern, what do you think this says? Exactly, there was virtually no buyers here at all. In fact, the only way the only place we were able to get to is a retest of the highs. We didn't even get that in this situation, and again, bang, we dropped to the downside. So it's really important that we look at momentum in the market. We look at what's happening with price, particularly after a momentum move, and we understand that we can work flag patterns differently depending how much momentum we believe is left in the market. Now Akil quite rightly said we've got no way of measuring volume, but we can measure the strength of the buyers or sellers by the candles. In fact, you'll mention time and time again, look left, what do you see over here? And you know, he'll be looking at a great big pin bar like this with a great big wick to the downside. Wow, my drawing skills are terrible. a great big wick to the downside. That, you know, he'll say, look, to me that says there's buying pressure here. In the past there may be buying pressure again, and we can apply the same rule to these flag patterns. And when we look at structure, this is why I say structure is key, is that when you understand that we've now violated this structure level and we came down, we violated here, oh good grief, come on mouse, and we pulled back up into structure. Yeah, look left, we came into that structure zone, we pulled down, we held, we pulled back again. Without a shadow of a doubt, I'm going to be looking at selling this every day of the week, because we've come into structure here and we've come into structure here, and that was the previous outside return that got violated. And so there we made the move lower. Now if we start then to look right, what starts to happen, in fact I'm just going to leave that there, what then starts to happen here with price? Okay, do you notice any type of pattern in there? Yep, putting in another flag pattern, that's right. What we need to do as well in this situation is obviously look left as well, because what we're now doing is we're now actually approaching this level of structure. So I'm going to be putting a structure level in there. I'm going to say to myself, well, we do have a little way to go before we hit that structure level, but not very far. And if I was to take this pattern right here, and I'm just going to draw it out, and now you can clearly see there's the first touch, the first on that side, the second and the second, and once again look left, coming into this structure zone. And if we zoom in, I wouldn't call these tweezer tops, but you can see that we've got wicks. I would then be looking at shorting this market on a two-touch flag. Now what happened after it? We did eventually go down and hit our target down here. Now the question you then have to ask yourself is, would you have played for an extension? Would you have played for extensive targets maybe down here? And the answer to the question to me, the answer, sorry, is no, because I would not. The market has not told me that we would have broken below this level. And you can exactly, and look what happened. Okay, if you played for two targets, well, guess what? You got target one, which was here. You would have then moved to break even. Your break even would have been here, and just look, you would have been stopped out for your second targets. Eventually it did roll over, but you would not have got your second targets. And so this is, do you understand what I'm saying by understanding structure is absolutely crucial to working these flag patterns? Yeah, because right here in this situation, right here, you would have been able to bank all your profit at target one instead of risking target two, which was unlikely that you were going to get. Now, this is a really good example, to be honest, Cody, because we're having a lot of flag patterns here and a lot of momentum. There is also another pattern here, and what you need to start doing is training your RAS. If I was to move this over to here and do this as well, what do you notice now? Exactly. They're called low and tight because this one is going down, but yeah, another low and tight pattern. And look at the number of tests, and again look at the structure level where we've exactly. And you know, and let's look left. The problem we have here again is this structure level. Now again, we have not violated it, so we don't know that price is going to come lower. However, I'm going to be a little bit more advanced here. This is a trade I would have taken, and I'll tell you why. we'd come down and we tested once here and twice. So right now I'm thinking there's a possibility of a double bottom, but I'm discounting it for the simple fact that we haven't actually come down and tested the close of the candles. Yeah, you notice how we're just holding above it. And so straight away this is going to invalidate a double bottom for me because it's not right at structure. And so while I wait, we come down for a third test. Come on, mouse. There's the third test. And then we come up. And when I zoom in, I look at what price is doing. And look at these candlestick formations here. Do you know what these are called? Dojis. And where does price close within the wick? What portion of the body? To the lower half. It's under the 50%, and the closer it is to the lower of the 50%, the stronger a doji will be. Straight after it, what do we have? This one here. We've got 3 dojis. Yeah, 3 dojis, clear indecision. All 3 of them are showing big wicks to the top, and all rejection, then followed by a lower low lower close. So right now I've got 3 tests on the bottom, so I know I'm not looking for a double bottom. We've come up and tested the highs, we've come up again with rejection at structure, and if you want even more confirmation, you can hold for a double top. We get the double top and another lower low lower close. I would have sold this playing for the breakout of this major structure level, and guess where my targets will be? If this is the structure level now, where is the next structure level? Okay, tell me when to stop, where you think it is. Yep. Okay, that's not a bad place. It's just above this zone here. We're within this minor structure level as well, and we want to make sure that we're above, see this even handled number here, 128 flat. Okay, so I would also throw on some fibs here, and I'd look at where that 127 comes in, and that 127 comes in right here. So I may look at taking targets early here. What I'd do is actually go out to the 4 hourly and look at where the candle closes. But let's see the outcome of the trade, and there you go. Okay, and what we'll do is we'll do one more scenario, and I think then what we'll do is we'll call it a day. I'll produce this video for you. Okay, right. I'll just do one other scenario, and that is this right here. We did another momentum move lower. Yep, we held another low and tight flag. You will find that when we're in a heavy trend, or when the market is really moving, you'll have 5, 6, 7 of them. Doesn't always happen, but when you catch them, I mean, look at this, what's that? We've had 4 or 5 winners in a row. You can really monetize. And so what I want you to do is simply sit by your chart and start drawing out lines everywhere. Look for these big momentum moves and start drawing out these lines. It's very important you draw them out. And download Camtasia, start recording them. Yeah, I'll send you the link to it if you wish. And yeah, I'll let you go because I know your kid's up. I'll produce the video for you, and rewatch this, and I'll talk to you over email, and we'll talk about some questions you've got and really look at progressing it to the next stage. No worries, no problem at all. I'll let you get to your kiddie, okay? All right, Cody, take care, man. Bye bye.